There's a very frequent type of mistake that people are doing regarding the Holy Scriptures when they're reading some verses, some passages. They take one verse concerning the subject, and they are always applying this verse concerning the subject. As a matter of fact, when you read the Bible, or you read the Quran, or when you read the Vedas, when it comes to a certain subject, you get to see all the verses that are linked to that subject. All those subjects are going to give you some, if I'm going to use the words of today, some three-dimension type of reality of it. Not take from one and apply everything with this verse. If there's only one verse concerning that subject, maybe you shall do so. But if there are many things, many verses whom are in contradiction with each other concerning the same subject, then you have to see what is the verse that is commending the others. This is the one who is going to help you take out from the Bible, if it is the Bible that you're reading, the light of the verse that you're trying to understand or to interpret. So, concerning Cain and his offspring, people go ahead and try to, through some pseudo-cultish type of reading of biblical events in time of Babylon and trying to see the seeds of Cain here and there. When you read the Bible, it is perfectly clear that Noah is the second Adam. And from his offspring, there are only three whom are going to repopulate the world. Noah is repopulating the world. Don't go and look for somewhere else. Noah is repopulating the world, the earth. Stop looking for some other offspring somewhere else. Why do I say so? Because the traditions that are going to branch out from, I would say, Cain and Abel, and even Abel died. It's Seth who took over. But I'm still using Cain and Abel because they represent prototypes of humanity. Even Seth is the image of Abel. From there, there are going to be two types of traditions that are orthodox. Of course, from the orthodoxy is going to come what is called the heterodoxy. An error doesn't have a spring on error. An error has a spring in something true. And then happen a deviation, an innovation. There are two types of orthodox traditions. You get the sedentary traditions and you get the nomad traditions. The sedentary tradition are linked with the space and they are scattered, as the formula said, in the four corners of the world. What is the reason being traditionally of the nomad traditions? They are because they are always on the road. If they are righteously following their tradition, they are to be peaceful link. And usually this link is through commerce, caravans, between two different traditions, sedentary, who don't know each other. And the exchange between people may be either by marriage, war, or commerce. It is in somehow natural among the sedentary tradition to have this tendency to spread out. The space. Sedentary tradition are linked with the figure of the square, the symbol of the square, while the other whom are in the running mode, they are more linked with the circle. And at the end of time, it's called the quadrature of the circle, the ability that those nomads are going to be able to stay nomads is going to be harder and harder and harder by the time the sedentary people are taking over the world and are spreading. And this is what happening clear for nomads. They are more and more kind of forced to sedentary themselves. It is when the space is totally taking over time, this is the end of time. So the end of time, where the circle is becoming a square, as the image said, you find this same echo in alchemy. In alchemy, you have this echo in what is called the solution and coagulation. But all that to say that it is quite normal. It has, and somehow inside the sedentary type of tradition, a propensity for spreading out on the space. As a matter of fact, they are even developing an art of life, arts that are linked with the space, like pictorial art, architecture and sculpture and drawing, painting, while the nomads are more developing art that you can carry with you, just like poetry and music, for instance. So it is quite normal in somehow that you find that the big empires, just like the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Persian Empire, the Indian Empire, the Chinese Empire, all this empire, they have this propensity for taking over the world. On the other hand, the shamans, the nomads, they are not supposed to have that propensity for taking over the world. They are not privileged with the burden of the race of nations. I don't see somebody from Papua New Guinea say, oh, we're going to be in comparing to Russia. They have some other type of burdens that are linked with the time, with the immediacy of what type of fruits are going to find in 1 month. Hunting, fishing. They don't even have an idea about the world despite of the immediate limits of their territory. Never heard about somebody in North America, and shaman in North America say, okay, we need to take over the world from the destroyer Bering. But you can understand that Julius Caesar to do that. Darius the Great, Alexander the Great, all those people, yes, they can dream of that. But you are known to be people to know how to ride a horse before to walk on your feet. But everything starts with an idea. It's a stubborn idea. The only one to explain that you, despite of the smallness of your physical situation, despite of your smallness of your objective social and anthropological situation in the chest of the people and nation, you are having the same exact dream of the big people while you're just a peon. This is how somebody like Attila the Hun woke up one day and say, the sky is blue, it's a perfect day to take over the world. What I liked about this period, though, is that at that time, there were no such a thing as politically correct. They didn't say that, no, we are going to civilize the world. No, we are going to bring democracy and freedom and McDonald's somewhere. And they didn't have to hide themselves behind any United Nations resolution or to give their propaganda through their media network. No, simply Attila the Hun declared that I want to destroy each city in front of me. And if I have to flatten the mountain, I will, until my horses and horsemen will reach the shore of the ocean. And I'm going to burn and loot and destroy each city they're going to find in front of me. Attila the Hun is still the person that we are referring to. Wherever his horse passes, the grass doesn't grow back. Till today. Why do I talk about Attila the Hun? And Genghis Khan is from his progeny as well. What is the common denominator between Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, and the Khazars on one side and Gog and Magog on the other side? We need to look at the Bible, of course. And the Bible is giving us two important indications about the word Magog. The word Magog is mentioned in the bloodline of Japhet. One. And the second thing, it's a geographical place. This geographical place is in the north of Georgia, above what is called the Pass of Dariel. It's the only one passage between the north and the south. And now let's see what the Khazars and Attila the Hun, what did they say about themselves? Where do they come from? They say it. They say, we are coming from Japhet. And who is Japhet? Noah has 3 sons. And those 3 sons are going to repopulate the earth. Only 2 sons we are interested in. One is Sem. From Sem is going to come Abraham. And from Abraham is going to branch out Ishmael and Isaac. Or Jacob, that is the one who is more our subject. Ishmael and Jacob, meaning Ishmael and Israel. They are coming from Sem. Now, from Japhet is going to come another son. One of the sons is called Magog. We saw it before. A name of a place usually is taken after the name of somebody. Just like the land of Israel was taken after the name of Israel, meaning Jacob. The land of Magog, this area where the Khazars are localized, is the place where the children of Magog are going to settle. And from this place, a portion of the children of Magog immigrated to Mongolia, where they established there. They mingled with some other people, and they became the Mongols. And from them, just a couple centuries after Christ, came Attila. So from the offspring of Magog are coming the Khazars. But the theme is never Magog or is never Gog. It's always Gog and Magog. What is the relationship between Gog and Magog? In the Vedas, we have the equivalents in two demons, two powerful demons, Koka and Vikoka. They are the equivalents and the symbolism of Gog and Magog. In other traditions, you find this theme of Gog and Magog. Sometimes it comes to dwarfs, sometimes it comes to giants. But the idea about Koka and Vikoka is that one without the other can do to you no harms. But one with the other, they are indestructible. Gog and Magog, the association of those two make them indestructible or almost. Of course, because they are evil entities and at the end, good is going to win, so they are to be destroyed. So what is the link between Gog and Magog? In Morocco, we have this expression that says, but when your head is feeling dizzy, catch the ground. When it comes to intellectuality, catching the ground is usually coming back to the etymology, to the words. When you hear Gog and Magog, you see that there is this radical Gog that is repeating in Magog. There is an etymological relationship between Gog and Magog, and therefore there has to be a common root between both of them. Not very long ago, those family names didn't exist. Like the Arabs, for instance, when you're calling somebody, you're calling him by his name, or you call him by the father of somebody or the son of somebody. When you're the son of somebody, when you're sinisterly known as Ben Laden, it means that you are the son of Laden. So the word Ben in Hebrew, in Arabic, is used as a prefix to give you the link between the son and the father. But the B can be a little more windy from a language to another. So this B is transformed into a V or a F. Like von Schmidt in Germany, it means son of Schmidt. And sometimes it's not a prefix, it's at the end of the word that you are adding. Like for instance, in the Slavic language, they use the ich at the end, like Milosevic. The Polish, they use the ski, Polanski. Sen or son for the Swedish or the Danish. And for the Irish, you got the O'Reilly and O'Malley. And the Scottish, they use the Mac. MacArthur means son of Arthur. Gog and Magog, Magog means from Gog. Just like son of Gog. You are issue from Gog. So Magog depends on Gog. So the relationship existing between Gog and Magog is the same relationship that is existing between the father and the son. One is giving the other. But here's the catch. Never a son is giving the same name, the first name, than the father. If the son is giving the same name than the father, there's always something that differentiates it. For instance, George Bush, George Walker Bush, George Bush Jr. There has to be something that differentiates. But there is an exception. When you say this is a John, son of John, you don't mean that he is literally his father. But the traces that you find in this individual, you are indeed finding them in the other individual. There is this idea of duplicity. And we're saying in the daily language, like father, like son. And this is, in the core, the relationship existing between Gog and Magog. This is how you deal with symbolism. Gog and Magog is, first of all, a symbol. But what is important to understand, first of all, is what is a symbol? You see, when you have an idea in the mind of a person A, and you want to transmit it in the mind of the person B, the idea needs a concept. It's just like a naked body. You cannot go out in the street naked. You got to wear something. And the language, usually what it does is just disguise the idea. It's not exactly the idea, but the more the idea is rough, low, the easiest is to shape a concept on this idea. So when you take a low idea, that the concept that you apply on it is almost perfectly tailored. So the speech as a language is an excellent way of communicating low idea. Because what goes out from the mouth of the person A is taken in the ears of the person B and immediately apprehended and comprehended without any effort. The lowest the ideas are, the easier they are to be transmitted in a passive form. And the one who is receiving the concepts, he has no pondering, no thinking about it. If the idea is something that has to do with materiality, a table, a tree, a chair, whatever thing it is immediately linked with materiality, there's nothing to philosophize about it. It's easy. But the speech as itself starts to reach its limits as a medium of transmitting ideas when those ideas start to get higher. Because these concepts, if we take the image of the cloth, the idea is so high, so thin, so subtle, and no clothes, no concept that are linked with the language, with the speech is suitable, that no word can be put upon this idea. It will go through. So then you need another type of language in order to pass the idea from the brain A to the brain B. This is where you use a symbol. What is a symbol? The symbol is nothing else than a support for meditation. When you see a cup drawn in the pyramid of Egypt, the cup, the vase, represent the heart. The knights in the island of Great Britain of the Round Table, they are looking for the Holy Grail. The Grail is a vase, is a cup. But this cup has no importance by itself if this Grail was not a cup for the blood of the Christ. And the card that you play, you have the heart. And in the Spanish cards, instead of the heart, you have the cup. So the symbol is something that is put between the person A and the person B. Something that the person A cannot transmit directly, and when I say directly, in a passive form to the person B. The person B necessarily has to put an effort. He's bringing him, the medium is that symbol. In order for the person B to discover the light coming from that knowledge, he has to ponder upon the symbol. And the symbol always, this is a rule, the symbol has always his roots in the realm of manifestation. It means for the subject that is mattering to us, that in order to understand the different meanings of Gog and Magog, you get just like an onion to go layer to layer. But the first layer has to be the first appearing meaning. Magog, first of all, is a bloodline. This is layer number 1. There are at least 4 layers. I'm going to talk only about 3. The first reason why we have to go on the bloodline perspective in order to understand whom are Gog and Magog is simply because the Bible is giving us a genealogical first understanding of Gog and Magog. But it is very interesting that the Bible starts first with the genealogy of Magog in Genesis, being the second son of Japheth, while the genealogy of Gog is given in the Chronicle as the second son of Joel, who is a prophet from the line of Israel. But it doesn't tell us nothing about Magog except the localization, where they are. But concerning Gog, it tells us nothing about its geographical place. But it tells us in Samuel 1, chapter 8, verse 3, how the children of Joel went astray. How the children of Joel were perverted. So, bloodline-wise, Gog is on the Jewish side, while Magog is on the Japheth side. All right. But the Bible, when it talks about the calamity, it doesn't talk about the calamity of Magog, or it doesn't talk about the calamity of Gog, at least on the apocalyptic scale. It always tells us about the calamity of Gog and Magog. And in that case, it starts first by Gog. Never say Magog and Gog. Always say Gog and Magog. So now we have to move upward on the second level. Since we got the genealogy right, we got to go on the etymology inside the words of Gog and Magog. So we have already established through the etymology the relationship existing like father, like son between Gog and Magog. Despite of the first meaning of the bloodline, it's going to give us 2 understandings. The first one is Gog is superior than Magog. And Gog as the father is the active part. And it's very important to know that. Meaning what? In a battlefield, you have the general and you have the soldiers. The one who is active in the appearance is a soldier. But the soldier actually is the one who is passive. The fact that he is receiving the information from the general and he is applying it. So the one who is active is the one who appears on the chest, passive. You don't have Gog on the battlefield. So we have to really pay attention about that. It is not the one who doesn't have real blood, meaning He didn't slay anybody with his hand. And physically, he has no blood staining his hands. But the truth is that he is the most violent. And we have two different types of violence here. We have the direct violence applied by the soldier of Magog on the battlefield. And we have the indirect violence that is more mischievous and more brutal, but less facile. That is the one led by Gog. Gog is the active part appearing passive. Magog is the passive part appearing active. Magog is doing mischief on a direct form, and Gog is doing mischief on an indirect form. But nevertheless, Gog is the worst. So that's the second understanding. And the third understanding is that from one person, meaning like from Japheth or from Magog or from anybody, cannot branch out to multitude like sand, just like the Bible said, that will take over the world. So how this multitude is going to happen? The mischief that is going to start from the bloodline of Magog is not going to be carried on strictly from this bloodline. Even if the core probably of this bloodline of Magog is going to transform later on into a Gog part of the future Gog and Magog, but the multitude that we are talking about comes from the fact that since Gog is the father, Magog is the son, Magog grows, he becomes a Gog then gets a son who is a Magog, and a Magog, and so on and so forth. What we have here is the attitude, the attributes of Magog that is usually carried on by the verticality of the bloodline. Now it is going to be carried on the horizontality of the state of mind. In Taoism, we said that the man is what he breathes, what he drinks, and what he eats. You breathe like Magog. You drink like Magog. You eat like Magog. You dress like Magog. You think like Magog. You live like Magog. You are Magog. So the big issue about Gog and Magog is what? The world is going to be Magogized. It is from deception that the Luciferianists from the Gog part are deceiving the people of Magog without being aware of it, meaning being confused about really what is at stake in the walk of their life. Confusion, Satanism. And we have here the way Luciferianism acts is on the way of displaying Satanism. And the buckle is buckled. The other understanding of Gog and Magog, of course, is the spiritual understanding, meaning the Gog and Magog within yourself. The legions of bad thoughts, pulsions, and instinct that if you let them pass beyond a certain barrier will take over your heart and will bring it to the abyss and therefore to hell. So to summarize up those three understandings that we are interested in, we can say as substance that Gog and Magog originally was a bloodline. And that from that bloodline, an evil spirit is going to be carrying through. The evil spirit existing, especially in the Gog part, is going to take over, first of all, the bloodline of Magog. Then on the third step, the evil spirit is going to take over all the world. All the bloodlines from Noah are going to be touched with the evil spirits, either it is by Gog, if they are among the wealthy and the powerful, or either it is by, most of the time, by Magog, if they are the lowest part, the common flesh of this evil entity. Of course, we're going to talk about the Khazars' conversion, but the thing that is important to focus on is the strategy of taking over the world. Never to forget the main topic, the kingdom of the world.